Welcome. I'm Brooks Martin, and I'm going to walk you through my process to create the eyes for the Sasquatch. Um, the Sasquatch, any face is a tough thing to make. The eyes are what make a face. You know, the windows of the soul, right? And if they look DOA, your face might look DOA. So, take a look at this. Take a look at the face, mainly focusing on the eyes. What do you see? Where are your geometric components? We got those grapes right there sitting in sand. We got these prominent eyebrows. We've got the nose. The wrinkles just jump out at me. You know, don't worry about modeling the wrinkles. We'll do that with the texture. And there's quite a few tools that we're going to use. The main tool is the 2-rail sweep to create the structure or the foundation of for the eyes to sit into. And then we'll use the create rounded shape for the eyebrows and the nose, just to give it some contrast to this rounded football that we create. And then we're going to go into sculpting. We're going to do a lot of smoothing. This process is a lot of components that need to blend together. So we'll smooth them, and you'll hear me keep on talking about a smoke type transition between the two components. And that's what I shoot for. I hate hard definitions, except for maybe right here at the ridge of the eyebrows. We'll do a little bit of smudging. Smudging will play around with how the eyelids or eyelashes and sort of taper off into the face. And there's one other thing that we're going to touch. When we're getting into sculpting, shadowing really hurts. So we're going to turn on light follows the viewer. And what happens there is now the light is always coming from your view. No matter how you look at it or how you rotate your 3D model, the light is coming from your view to the model. If I turn that off, light follows viewer, and I do that again, now you see it's shadowed. So light follows viewer. Very helpful in sculpting. All right, let's let the fun begin. First thing we want to really do is utilize the size of the eyes compared to the project size. So I created a box around the eyes, and that box turns out to be 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So I went into sheets, created an eye sheet that was 2 1/4 by 1 1/2, and copied all these vectors over to that. One thing that's different than what I showed you before, I created these 2 profiles from the head vector, and I did not use these. And the profile, the cross sections, vectors that were created, I deleted the span that was right here and here. Just didn't want to deal with it. Makes it a lot cleaner and easier to use. And same with right here. There was 2 legs that popped out, and I deleted those. So the first thing we want to do is go into 2-rail sweep, this guy right here, and we're going to select those rails again. Here and here, and use those as our rails. Then we'll select the profile, select the rail, select the profile over here, paste it on. Now you see these horizontal cross sections, which are great, but we're going to apply these other 2 cross sections, profiles, and apply them here and here. And we're going to call this guy face. Yep. like to name all my vectors or my components. Just makes things a little bit easier to follow them along. Let's apply that. Let's see what that looks like. Turn off the bitmap. Turn this. This is really close to what this is exactly a little cutout of that head that we created. We used the same cross section across there. And we're good. We're going to create a new component. There's no reason. Well, yes, there is. We're going to create the eyebrows now. We're building this foundation. And the eyebrows and nose are created using the rounded shape. Create rounded shape. Let's call this brows and nose. Demo. And we'll give them 25 degrees. How's that look? Good enough. We're only looking for a foundation, some contrast. And we're going to close that. And now we're going to create the sockets. And we'll use the same component, or same tool, excuse me. This one's going to be a negative though. And we're going to call this sockets demo. And we are going to give it some depth. Let's say 25 again. Let's take a look over here. What do we see? What's 33 look like? Let's go with that. And apply, close. And we're going to go into the component tree. We got these selected. We're going to use that favorite tool of mine again and create a component of those, from those. Turn off the old ones. We'll rename this. Face demo. Make it unique from this one. Face components. Face composite. Demo. And here we go. This is where our first chance to get into sculpting. We're going to smooth out all those components, those transitions, and we're going to go here. Remember when I talked about the viewer? Let's make certain that's on. Light follows viewer. Okay, good. That's on. See? Light shines from our perspective. First thing we're going to do is smooth. And top on. And we have a very small diameter tool. That's pretty good. So power level, I want to kick it up a little bit. Let's go 60 for now. And I want to get in here and smooth these transitions. I think we can give it a little bit more juice. Just want to soften all these hard transitions. And smoothing, what's that do? Takes the area bonded by this circle, the red dot there, and averages all those pixels together. You do have an option to go raised, where it will average all the lower parts, or try to bring them up to the highest part within that circle. We'll utilize that. And same thing with lower. It'll do the opposite. It will take all the high spots and slowly work them down to the lowest spot that's within that circle. But for now, we're going to just do normal and smooth these out. Zoom in. Soften these hard transitions. Sculpting takes a little bit of time, patience, and key point, we want to make a copy of our components so we can work on the composite. If you selected two components, it would bake them together so it was doing the same thing, but you wouldn't have the ability to go back and redo it, because it just takes those components and creates that one composite out of that component, and that component is gone. So make a copy, and then what we did was bake it by using the copy routine. And we'll go up into here. Soften these hard edges. Remember that smoky transition? I don't want to see the definition. I want to make it smoke fog. Just don't see that. Well, it'll be very hard to define where that transition is. See how sharp that transition is? Now it's getting spread across a little bigger area, leading them into one another. Okay, from this angle, notice how the eyebrow got smaller between here and here. So that means it didn't span equally across there. So what I want to do now is go into the raise mode. And I want to come in here, try to bring up this sucking area. You can tell by the color. Dark recedes, light is forward. So let's try to bring this to a constant tone. We're using the raise mode, so we need to have something, the cursor on some of the higher spots. Try to bring up that recessed valley into the Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's keep that. So now what we've got is our foundation. So now we can start building the eyes, the eyelids, and sort of the eyelash thing, and the pupils and that little sunny shot, little reflection point of the sun. So first thing we want to do is get into the eyeball vectors, turn them on over here again, and here's our eyeball and eyeball, both of them. We're going to create a rounded shaped object and name that eyeballs demo. And not quite 90 degrees complete sphere. It's going to be sort of squashed at 75. And there we are. We have some eyeballs. Looks pretty robotic right now. Say okay. And we're going to go into components and we're going to turn off the foundation. Now we're going to go into, there's this cool tool here that's called Create a Component by Offsetting Visible Model. And we're going to do that. And we're going to give it some offset distance. 0.01875. Let's see what that looks like. Some time. There we are. We'll say OK. We'll go back into components. This time we'll turn off the eyeballs because what we want to do is now crop the eyelid. We want the eyelid open. This is the eyelid that we just created. So zoom into here, select that vector, and it should be, yeah, they're joined, or grouped, excuse me. And we'll go into design after selecting the eyelid component, and we're going to remove everything within that component. See, if we had the eyeball turned on, we would have erased the eyeball right there. Let's back out. And we'll turn the eyeball back on. Now we got something that sort of looks like a eyeball. Next vectors we're going to play with is we're going to turn on the outer part of the eyelid. Now we got two together here. And we're going to create a raised rounded component, and we're going to call this eyelashes. ES or I or just S demo. And we'll give it some height, 22, and that turns out to be 1/1000th of an inch. That's not enough. Let's give it 41. Now it's 3/1000ths of an inch. Can we see it in the view? A little bit, but we're gonna get into smoothing and it will just sort of erase it all. Let's give it 57 degrees, and now it is 4/1000ths of an inch thick. Let's go with that for right now and see what happens. And we'll turn on the foundation. We can't do that because we need to make a model, a copy of this model. And we'll go into my favorite tool, create a copy of the visible model, components, go back into the components, turn off the other components, and we'll rename this composite. Eyeballs. demo. How's that look? Let's turn off the vectors. See what this looks like. Alright, we're going to do some smoothing here. Sculpting mode. And do we have the visible light follows viewer? Okay, good. We are smoothing, we're at 75% strength. Let's crank that down to, say, 33. We're doing a fine adjust here. And we're going to zoom in, get that a little bit smaller. Too small. Something to allow us to just smooth these transitions. We're looking at smoothing the inside of the eyelash and also those eyelash loops. Keep the harsh, sharp edges off. And also there's a thing about jagged edges that we want to remove. Make this as smooth as possible. Here. Does this look? What I'm trying to do is, you can see in this area there's sort of looks like a ridge that's not uniform in height. So I want to try to make that a little bit more uniform. And you see those hollow spots? We could turn off preserve transparency and we can paint in there. It'll fill that up with holes. But we don't need to worry about that, only because we're going to be overlaying it on the foundation we created. Let's save this. And now let's turn back on the other foundation. Foundation. How's that look? This is our set of eyes right now. Alright, so what we're going to do, we got those two now. I'm going to create another copy of that image. We're going to go back, turn off the others, and we're going to rename this, let's see, Phase 2 demo. And we're going to go back and try to get rid of those hard transitions. Mainly about the bags under the eyes and the tops into the eyebrow. And we'll do some smudging to get the tear ducts a little bit better on both sides of the eyeball. And let's do it. Increase our diameter, area of effectiveness, get that up to about 75, and let's get that smoky transition. We are still Light following viewer. Good. Smooth this. Okay, we'll keep that. And we will make a copy of this. We're going to call that, rename that, Smooth. And we'll make a copy of that. This is the other way to make a copy. Say duplicate. The analogy everybody uses is smudging is like pushing clay with your thumb or fingers or whatever, and we're going to soften this inside. Same thing here. Good enough. Thank you. Take a quick look. It's not looking all that bad. I'm going to keep that. And we are good to go. Now we're almost there. Comparison, side view, looking at the model created so far. We've got a couple options. We can quit here, because the image doesn't show any pupils or the shiny spotlet reflection location of the eye in the sun. See what it looks like with the skin attached. It's looking pretty good. Remember, the eyebrows and nose are not really there yet. You can make a copy of this and put in your clip art. But we're going to go one step further. We're going to make those pupils and the little shiny spot, the reflection of the eye. And we're going to do that with a raised rounded component, which is negative. And we're going to call this the pupils. Demo. And we'll give that, let's start with 22%, or degree, excuse me. Let's see what that looks like. Probably not enough. 33% degrees, excuse me. Not much. Let's try 57. There we go. We get some recess. Give it a little bit more. 62% degrees. Apply it. Close it. Face on. Let's turn off that skin. And we can make an image of the viewable copy of the visible model and call it quits and copy that to your clip art. Or we can do a little smudging going on here. First, let's make a copy of the visible model. Making a copy, you can always go back. Turn off. Those animals. And we'll name this Eyes Composite. Demo. All right, that name hasn't been used. And let's go into sculpting and see if we can make that a little bit more pronounced. Okay, thank you for watching. Sculpting and creating 3D components. There's a lot of work to it. It's not easy. It is what it is. You know, AI is probably going to do this all for us in the near future. Until that gets here, you still have the strength to do it yourself. And thank you for watching. Tune in for the ears and throwing it all together. Thank you.